Good morning, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world. You've tuned in to the Mac City Morning Show. I am your host, Elliot Pierre, and we're going to start the show off the same way we start every show off, with a moment of gratitude. I know you could be doing a million other things with your time, so the fact that you're spending with us truly does mean the world to me. On that note, Tanner, hit him with the intro. Okay, and we're back. As you can see, we are not on the Mac City Morning Show set. We are on location. I'm not going to tell you where I'm at, and I'm not going to tell you who I'm interviewing because they can do a better job at that than myself. So on that note, sir, can you please tell everybody at home who you are and where we are today?
It's Kyle Marshall, and we're at Easy Term Auto.
Okay, Easy Term Auto. Kyle, well, thank you very much for having us here. And I have to assume you're employed here because they told me this is the guy that I need to be talking to. So what's your role here at Easy Term Auto?
The sales manager.
You're the sales manager, okay. And so how did you get into this field of work?
Building older cars. We were building older cars before, and we started selling them, and it became a hobby to myself and my wife. So this is what we decided to bring into Fort McMurray.
Okay, so I have an older car myself. I've got a 1979 MG Midget, and from time to time this car acts up. If it was acting up, could I bring it down here? You guys could help me shop out some parts. You could help me fix this a little bit, or do you just sell primarily?
We just sell here.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to look for somebody else to help me out with this classic car then.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare, I'm not gonna lie. I love driving it. Like it's a blast from the past. I feel like I'm in a time machine when I drive it. Like there's nothing convenient about it. I gotta pull the choke on to start it. It rarely ever starts on the first try. It smells like gasoline. My wife can't drive stick shift, so she can't drive it. My kid's a little bit too small, so he shouldn't be in it. But there's something about driving a classic car that I just love. Can't get away from it. So in regards to your classic cars, which one's your favorite to drive?
Probably that 59 Ford F100.
Okay. And is that like, it's here in the shop, so is this a car that you take out on the road regularly, or?
I drive it from time to time.
Okay.
It is for sale, but it's a nice driving truck, so
yeah,
I like to take that one out the most.
Okay. Now, with all the vehicles that you have in here, like, do you get to take these out and drive? Is this like your personal garage that you can go and take some of these classics out?
Some are my wife and I's own collection that aren't for sale, but the other ones, we drive them all before we sell them, of course, everyone, majority of them.
So where do you find these things?
They come from all over Western Canada and some from the US, and I was lucky to have a good relationship with a good shop out of Edmonton that builds a lot of cars for me that we have a good relationship with. Okay.
And so from a price range, because I know it's going to be very vast here, because I heard you have a car that used to belong to Jay Leno in the corner over there. When you're getting into some of these older classic cars, like what are you looking for from a budget standpoint for somebody at home who wants to get into one of these things?
So the ones that are driving, that are nice drivers that you can drive all the time without issues. You're always going to be fixing something with an old car.
Yeah.
But what I try and do with the older drivers is price it in the same point as maybe what somebody would send on a side-by-side or a smaller camper or a boat. I try and price those vehicles. That's kind of what I try and target, is something that's affordable to majority of the community if it was the same as a weekend toy.
Okay. Now I'm looking for a particular car. I was talking to Sam a little bit about this. I came in a few weeks ago. I'm wondering if you've ever seen it. It's called a Toyota FJ. Now, like not the remake, but like the old ones. We're talking about the ones from the 60s. Have you ever seen one of these in your days looking for these classic cars?
We've seen them before at auctions. They're around.
They're around. And so like, if I'm looking for one of these, like how hard, because I'm obviously don't have the same connections as you, and this is a show, but nonetheless it's my show, so I can mix a little business and pleasure. To find one of those cars in regards to a timeline, how long am I looking? And for myself, I'm not the most mechanically minded. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be like runnable. How long do you think it would take to find a Toyota FJ? Sorry, Ethna.
3 or 4 days.
3 or 4 days? Okay, well, we're gonna after we're done filming here, you and I are gonna have a serious chat about this. Okay, so how are you able to source a vehicle that quickly?
Just over doing this for a long period of time, you make so many connections that you're offered cars every day.
Okay, wow. All right. Well, listen, I want to speed up this episode so you and me can talk off camera. All right, you got me flustered. 3 or 4 days, that's crazy. Now, in regards to Fort McMurray, how long have you been living in Fort McMurray?
Close to 20 years.
20 years now? Wow. So where are you from originally?
Ontario.
Okay, so you're a younger guy. You must have moved here when you were like a teenager, or maybe even younger. Your parents moved you out here?
No, I moved here about 2 weeks after high school.
Oh, okay. And so what brought you out to Fort Mac right out, like that quickly out of high school?
I just came out here and started with construction and then moved into doing this.
Okay, 20 years ago. So where in Fort McMurray did you move to? Where were you living when you first came out here at that young of an age?
Thickwood.
Thickwood? What part of Thickwood?
Kind of behind Patty McSwiggan's and
okay.
behind Sobeys there.
That's the best place to live when you're a teenager. My first house that I bought in Fort McMurray, believe it or not, was about like a 10-minute walk away from Patty's down the street. And that was done very strategically to my parents' chagrin. So, all right. Well, my man, we're at the part of the show called the Mac City Minute, where Tanner's going to ask you a few quick questions. I don't know what he's going to ask you, so I wish you nothing but the best of luck. Tanner, hit him with the Mac City Minute.
Alrighty, question number 1. What has been the most memorable drive you've ever taken?
That's a hard one.
The 1951 Chev out front.
There we go.
Question number 2. What is your favorite rebuild you've ever taken part in?
This building.
Yeah, this building's something else, man.
Question number 3. What is the craziest story you have from buying a car?
It's a PG show, you got to think about that kind of stuff.
Getting it back here, an older car that you thought was not what it was, and then you get it here and you find out that it's more rare when you start going through it than it really was.
Question number 4. What is one car that surprised you with how fun it was to drive?
The 1959 Ford.
And your final question. What do you think is the most underrated classic car people should look into?
The 1955 Ford Rancho.
And those have been your 5 questions.
So there we go. Tanner hitting with the question. So yeah, this building is unbelievable. So is this something that was like in your head in regards to like, I want to make like the coolest man cave ever? Like how did this building come to fruition?
My wife and I have collected cars and traded back and forth. More me than her. I get in trouble most of the time. But I never ever had a place to display them. And it's finally nice to have a place to display them and make a fun place for everybody that works here, and also the community when they come in to buy a car. We want to be a destination, not just another location.
Yeah, very cool. Now, I heard a rumor that, and I've mentioned it once, but me and Tanner were talking about it before we started filming. There's a car over there that, correct me if I'm wrong, it used to be Jay Leno's car?
It was, yes.
Now, how the heck do you get your hands on a Jay Leno car? Like, I don't even understand how that story even begins.
It was sold about 8 years ago in Barrett Jackson, and a gentleman from Grand Prairie had purchased it. And when I went to Grand Prairie, he owned it for about 5 years, and then he went through a messy divorce, and on and on and on. I was lucky enough just to be at the right place at the right time.
Right, love it. Now, is that a car that you drive?
No.
No, that's just for show.
Yeah.
And that is a car that's potentially for sale, or is that's yours?
No, it's not for sale.
The kids are getting that one.
Yes.
Okay. So how many cars in here are part of your personal collection?
Just 2 in here, just this and that 68 Shelby.
Yeah. Let's talk about that Shelby. Is that like that? To me, that reminds me of Shelby in that movie with Nick Cage. Is
60 seconds.
that's it? Thank you, Tanner. Gone in 60 seconds. Like, it looks very similar to that. Do you like car movies because you're so into cars, like Gone in 60 Seconds or Fast and Furious, or you would prefer to be behind the wheel and just drive them than watch them?
No, I like to drive them. I don't care about watching them.
Okay. And so do you drive that one?
No.
No, that one's just parked as well?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Man, you got some amazing cars. Like, I'm a kid in a candy store here. I'm not a huge car guy in regards to fixing them, but to look at them is amazing. How did you guys come up with the concept of like putting the cars outside though? Like that to me is genius.
Everything kind of fell into place as we were designing it, and then once we started moving in, and just one thing led to the next.
Right. Okay. No, it's a beautiful shop, and I think everybody in Fort McMurray should come check it out. I know you have, not everything is here is classic for purchasing. You guys have other cars that are in the parking lot that people can purchase as well, but this is definitely, you've created a landmark in Fort McMurray that I think everybody should come and check it out. It's something to be seen, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, no worries. So that's the end of the show. Short and sweet. Wasn't as bad as you thought. At the end of the show, everybody gets a shameless shout out and or plug. So is there anything you want to promote or anybody you want to say hi to? This is your time to shine. The camera's on you and the mic's on.
Just thanks back to the city of Fort McMurray for supporting us in getting us going again here and having a look at stuff.
There we go. Awesome. Well, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world, that's been another episode of the Mac City Morning Show. Thank you very much for tuning in. I truly do appreciate it. And I'm going to talk about a Toyota FJ. Hopefully you're having a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
What a deadly old way to end another morning show. Later, boss.
It's so ballistic!
Talk about quenching your ugly thirst.